Um, my name's Cameron Latter. I have a website, photography website, cameronlatter.com, where I post a lot of my images. The subject, or the title here is Street Photography, How I Do It All Wrong. What I want to talk about today is with my street photography, I tend to use manual 24mm lens, 35 auto lens, and a 24 to 70mm lens. So what I've done here, this is my Samyang 24, and as you can see, it's got a bit of sellotape on it there to stop focusing changing. So I focused on 4 meters, taped up the lens, told my Nikon D780 that I'm using a manual lens, and I then just set the aperture generally, well, at least f8, generally about f10, and I just click away all day without having to worry about focus. Now, where I differ from a lot of people is that I also use automatic lens or automatic focus lens. So here, my trusty 780 with a 24 to 70 attached, and as you can see, there's some sellotape there. So again, what I did was focused on 4 meters, sellotape the lens so the focus won't shift, and on f8 to f11, I don't have to worry about focus when I'm walking around taking photos. And with my street photography, I think of it as taking photos of interesting people doing interesting things, and I don't stop. When I'm walking around Sydney, I'm walking fairly slowish, but I keep moving. I don't stop, focus, take a photo, obviously, because everyone would understand what I'm doing. And then they'd change the expressions, etc. So I just walk around all day with my camera in my hand, with my wrist strap. When I see something interesting, I have the screen tilted a little bit. I just glance down, check out what the image looks like, and take a photo. So I don't use the optical screen. I just use the tilt down screen to get some idea of whether I've got the person placed appropriately in the image, and it works out really well because when I'm walking along, if I'm taking a photo of someone walking towards me, and I think they've sort of noticed me taking their photo, I just look straight past them or look up. I don't look at them. I just keep on going. Now, if by chance if I was to be challenged by someone, did you take my photo? I'd say, yeah, I did. And if they said why, I said, well, you look interesting. I just wanted to take a photo of you. It's not going to be published. There's no problem. And if they insisted on me deleting it, I would. There's no point, pissing people off. Legally in Australia, obviously, I can take photos of anyone in a public place. I do have a bunch of rules I stick to, which is I don't take street photos of street people, kids by themselves, or kids by themselves, people that have some kind of disability. And the other one is I don't take pervy photos of females walking around. So they're the basic rules I use, but everything else is fair game. And when I see the police out and about, I always take photos of them because they're always, often got interesting expressions on their faces. And particularly when I walk up to them and say, good morning, how you going? They generally get such a shock that it can be quite priceless. I guess in New South Wales, the police aren't really used to the public being civil to them. Anyway, back to the lens. If you've got an auto lens and you want to do street photography, you can set your zone. You can focus on 2 meters to 4 meters. I just use 4 meters. And that way, pretty much everything close to me is in focus. And then it goes way out as well past the subject. So if I'm trying to get a good depth of field, 24 f10 is brilliant. Now, the other type of street photography I do is where I have a 70 to 200 on this body at 2.8, but that's more where I'm walking around using the camera like a normal person, so focusing on the subject and taking their photo. But that's more a street portrait situation. So and often they notice what I'm doing, which is fine. I just smile at them and wave, and generally they're cool. And I've really only had 3 people object to my taking their photo. One was a street person, which I took accidentally. I didn't realise they were a street person until I was too late. I don't get much time to think about things. There was a lady at a Palestinian protest who asked me to delete the photo, which I did. And then there was a guy in Circular Quay that said, "Did you take my photo?" And I said, "Yeah, it's not going to get published." And I just kept walking. If he had sort of said, "Can you delete it?" I would have done so. But also, I guess you have to be aware of the fact that you're in Sydney, in the CBD, you're being photographed all the time. You're always on video. So whether some guy takes some random guy takes a photo of you, really does it matter that much? But yeah, I stick to my rules, and I'm quite happy walking around for 3 or 4 hours taking photos. And from the average walk, I'd get about 350 to 400 photos. But generally, I'm taking two exposures at a time. So multiple exposures. And of the, let's say 300, I'll get half a dozen that are okay, and I might get one that's good. And then over 12 months or so, if I get 2 or 3 that are really good, I'm happy. It's obviously really hard to get an interesting or a good street photo. And the more time you're out there walking around, the better off you are. And of course, the good thing about being in Sydney is the climate's pretty good and the light's really good. So you can be out there pretty much all year, with the exception of the really hot months over summer where it's just too hot to be out walking around in the sunshine. It's just horrible. Anyway, that's all I have for today. I'll see you next time.